All right, guys, you're in for a treat. Get ready for an amazing interview with a unique individual. I hope this story inspires you guys to do something similar. All right, let's start with the basic. What's your name, friend?
Bob Lange.
Bob.
But now, I used to be Bob in the States. Now I'm Robert.
What part of the States are you from originally?
Well,
Or where have you lived?
I grew up in Western New York, moved to Louisiana when I was a senior in high school, went to college, medical school in New Orleans, and then in 1970 moved to Phoenix. Lived there about 18 years. Moved up to Prescott, a little town, 50,000 northwest of Phoenix in the mountains. 4 seasons, snow. And then we knew that we like to travel, and we've traveled all over. We've traveled a lot in Mexico. And we knew that.
Where else have you traveled to, though, besides Mexico? You've been to a lot of countries, though.
A lot of countries. We've been to Thailand, to Laos, to Bali, to Argentina. We volunteered time in the Amazon and Brazil. We've been to Ecuador, Bolivia, Bali, then Central America. We spent quite a bit of time in Costa Rica. We've been to Guatemala, Nicaragua, and then Spain, France several times, London, all over Slovenia we like, Turkey we really like. So we love to travel, but we've traveled a lot in Mexico, and we always loved Mexico, and we thought we'd like to live there sometime. So we had a condo in Puerto Penasco in Sonora for like 8 or 10 years, and we drive down. Take us 5 hours to drive from Prescott down to Puerto Penasco, and so we had that. And then we went to a Spanish school in Morelia, and we stayed in a bed and breakfast. A guy from Santa Cruz. He had a beautiful bed and breakfast. Became good friends with him, and he would bring us over to Patzcuaro and take us around the lake and introduce us to the different villages around the lake. And we thought, wow, this is really nice. So we would come here for a week, and then we'd come here for a couple of weeks, and then a month we came. Finally, we said, we're 75 years old, probably 74 years old.
So you made the choice to move at the age of 70-something?
Yep, we did.
Wow.
And what we said is, if we don't do it now, we're not doing it. We were healthy, and so...
But there was nothing that made you scared about the move? Nothing scared you guys?
Nothing. And so, because we had been here, and we liked this area and this barrio, we rented a couple years here. I mean, parts of the years.
Oh, so you kind of did like a little vacation test first to see if you liked it before you made the plunge.
Over probably 8 years or so, or almost 6, 7, 8 years. And so then the last time we were here like a month. And we said, if we're going to do it, we need to do it. So we went home. We sold our house with all the furniture. We brought actually a couple guys from here came up to Puerto Penasco, where we took our furniture, artwork, just the basics. And they brought all that down here. And then, because we liked this barrio, we found this lot here and found a young guy. He's just an amazing architect, builder. And so we decided to build a house. So we did that about probably finished the house about 3.5 years ago. It took almost 2 years to build it. And it was so much fun building the house, because he took care of everything. And in this area, the artisans, the metal workers, the ceramics, the woodworkers, everything, the chandeliers downstairs. You just show the metal worker a picture out of a catalog. He makes them for you. And so everything is done, pretty much all of it's done in Michoacan. I mean, it comes out of Michoacan.
So total locally serviced house here, huh? Nothing imported, huh?
Nothing's imported, really.
Wow.
And it's made out of boulders and stone from the property. The guys hands split these boulders into smaller rocks, retaining walls. There's a couple walls in the casita, in the living room, that are just stone that have been hand split and everything, and they fit perfectly. They look like a map of the states or something. No grout or anything. They're just plastered up there.
Amazing. You know, I'm curious because you're someone who's obviously so well traveled. What was it about Mexico that you and your wife, now deceased, and today is being Day of the Dead? You will see some footage of her later on. Check down below for another video about the whole procession for that. But that fact that you guys are so well traveled, out of all the countries you've been to, what made you settle and say, okay, Mexico's the place for us, not Turkey, not Asia, not in Europe, Mexico?
Well, the thing with Mexico was that we have family in the States. Mm-hmm. So it's more accessible than if you're in Turkey or Thailand or something. And we wanted to learn the language, which I haven't done well, but I'm practicing every day.
He's taking private Spanish classes, guys. Give him a break. Taking private Spanish classes, all right? That's not easy.
But the special thing about Patzcuaro is that it's influenced by the Purepecha Indians.
That's right.
And they are just beautiful, gentle, loving people, big hearts. And we really felt accepted. And it's also, my wife was involved. I supported all this, but she's the one that got it all going. She was involved. It's easy to get into community activities. So she was supporting the orphanage. There's a girls' school that they provide safe housing and some financial aid for high school girls that want to complete their high school work. And then after that, even to if they want to go further into college and that. So we support them, the orphanage we support. My wife was very involved in an organization to sterilize dogs, not just the street dogs, but anybody that wanted to bring in their dogs. They sterilized that. She was really involved in that. And you can do that so much more easily down here in the States. You're probably having background checks and insurance, and it becomes, it's just so difficult. Whereas here, you don't have that. I mean, they're very careful about how, particularly with the girls' schools and things like that.
But I've noticed that in my short time here in this town is that they definitely care more about the vibe you give off, the energy you have, more so than your background credentials. They take that into account, but it's like they care more about who you are as an individual.
Exactly.
I've noticed that.
And they're very supportive and very accepting of that.
And your wife was a teacher also, wasn't she here?
She was a psychologist or a therapist, but so she didn't work down here in that. She was just more involved in all of these organizations, volunteer organizations with the orphanage and everything, the dog thing and all.
But you mentioned something really cool that I just want to let people know. He mentioned the Purepecha tribe that's here. And I have a small video of a Purepecha master who actually has taught you guys a lot about the customs of Day of the Dead. How did you guys go about meeting this lady? Oh, this is amazing.
Well, we initially, she was probably, we went to a little Spanish school here, and she was a teacher there. Mm-hmm. And then after she left the school, then she did private lessons. So she would come to the house. And then she's an unbelievable gardener. I mean, she comes at 6:30 in the morning. She's here about 4 hours once a week. We turn on Purepecha or Mexican music out here. She's out there dancing and clipping, and it's so heartwarming because to her, it's her garden. And to us, it's her garden. I mean, it was because she took care of it and babied it. And so we had her for that also. But then she does so many other things too in her village. And, I mean, she is unbelievable.
Truly Renaissance woman. I can't wait for you guys to meet this lady as well later on. She's a true Renaissance woman.
Unbelievable.
Another question I have is for people who might be worried to take the plunge that you've taken, whether they're your age or even younger. People are just scared regardless of age. People are scared to move and leave their comfort of home. And one of those things could be, for example, one of my concerns was one of the reasons why I moved to Guadalajara, Mexico, is it's a bigger city and it feels a little bit more comparable to the San Francisco Bay Area, what I'm used to back home. Right now we're in Patzcuaro, which is more of a more remote small town nestled in the mountains here in Mexico, and it's gorgeous. The climate is delicious. However, did you ever feel at any point that maybe there's something you don't have here that you need to go to the big city for, or do you feel like you just have everything you need here?
No, I think we've got it, and they have enough at the Colegio. They'll have music events. They'll have art things that you see down. The Viejito dancers come. There's always something going on.
I saw them yesterday. It's true. I saw them.
There's always something. And I guess for us, when we thought about Mexico, you think about, we've been to Puerto Vallarta and Mazatlan and a lot of the beach areas, Acapulco even. And both of us, we're good for 4 or 5 days on the beach. But then you run out of, your entertainment is Thursdays, they have taco night at this place. And Saturday, they've got something there. But there's not a whole, and the internet. People that have to work there, they have a hard time with that. So we didn't really want to, here we're 3 hours from Zihuatanejo or Troncones, the beach. But we didn't want to live in the beach atmosphere, kind of. We wanted to have and this is probably, I don't know what the population, maybe 80,000 in Patzcuaro.
It's probably less. It's pretty small. I saw, like when I checked in, it said something around 55,000. But let's put the data down below. I'll check later and give you guys an actual data of what the actual population is today. Yeah, and but the weather here is also delicious. Last night was probably in the 50s, and right now it's probably 68 and sunny, and it's not overbearingly hot. It has a cool breeze coming in. Yeah. I don't know. How did you guys feel about the weather here? Was it too cold for you? Or?
No. They call it the eternal autumn. And it gets a little colder in December, January, February. But the rest of, even during the rainy season, we love the rainy season too, because it doesn't rain all day long. It'll rain maybe late in the evening. The long rains are usually during the night. But the weather is it's beautiful.
It is. I love it here. I love the weather here.
And even, like I say, the rainy season's really nice. It'll cool it down a little bit. But here, you wake up, like even this morning, it'll be fairly chilly to look now.
I know, it's sunny. It's delicious. I love it.
And we would go on hikes, and people will have like jackets and sweaters. I said, 1 hour, you leave at 9, and by 10, you're layering. You have to layer.
Oh, yeah.
And, it's just, I love everything about it.
Here's another question another concern people have, this is probably the biggest concern most people have, is safety. At any time, have you ever felt unsafe in this town? You've lived here for years now. have you ever felt unsafe during your time here?
No. We had the accident going to Zacatecas. That's where my wife died in the car accident. That could happen anywhere. And so really, that was just an accidental thing on the highway. But no, around here, and I'm sure there are things that go around.
But you personally, as you walk around, no one's ever tried to mug you or...
We lived in Prescott, which is a real quiet, very safe town, and we felt safer here in Patzcuaro. Walking at night. We were out.
Yeah. We were out last night. We were out last night walking around. It was like midnight almost, and we just got off a boat. We just walked around and found a taxi, a random micro van or something, and it's totally safe, no problems.
And even you'll see young guys on the street corner and that, and at nighttime, and with all of that, I tell people, I've never one time heard anybody say, "Go home, gringo," or "We don't want." They're so polite, and like the young people even. And for me, it's not Roberto, it's Don Roberto.
It's Don Roberto.
Everybody.
The respectful mark.
And I liked it.
It's a mark of respect when they say Don something.
Yeah, but they really, And we have some Mexican, well, we have a lot of Mexican friends, but some we've known forever since we've been coming down here. And they will absolutely do anything for you. I mean, to us, even our friend Jorge, his dad died a couple years ago, and he told them, we didn't know him real well. He actually lived in the States. And he told Jorge, he said, those are good people, and I want you to take care of them. So to him, we're his parents almost, you know.
Right.
They'll do anything for you.
No,
I mean, it was my birthday. They come over. They bring me comida. They fix a meal for me, and we have a little birthday party. And it's just, after traveling, and people are wonderful everywhere you go.
Yeah.
But it's just a little different here.
Probably because of the small townness of it.
Yeah.
People probably know each other
And
a
I
little
think
better.
it's the Purepecha influence.
Oh yeah, the native culture
And,
for sure.
and we were
Yeah.
even able to, a couple kids on the street here that were around 10 years old, 11 years old, they were not going to school, and we wanted to get them to school, and there was some resistance. So we kind of went around. We didn't want to do it as gringos, but we got people to go talk to them. And so we've gotten two of the kids, they go to school. We're able to buy them their school clothes and their books and everything they need. So it feels good now. The one kid wants to be an architect, the young.
Oh, nice.
So he was in another little program where they were teaching him how to build things and that. I always tease him if he's going to build my house. But so we went and bought him a wheelbarrow and a shovel, and so you get involved in that too. And it also, I mean, so many times in the States, you get older, you go into a retirement community, everybody's your age. We didn't want that.
Right.
We want here.
You've got all ages here.
You've got all ages.
They got little kids running around up and down his street, and then you have like adults working right in front of that. I mean, it's literally everything.
Everything.
Yeah. And you have the old lady who's a baker, and she's making fresh goods as well, and everyone just mixes really well with each other. It's beautiful.
Everybody does, and they really accept you. And again, I can't stress enough about how safe it feels. You know, it just has really been. We've just loved it. So I mean, now even with with my wife passing, everybody says, "Well, you gonna move back to the States?" I said, "No, this is my home, and I feel really comfortable here, and I'll go visit." And the kids will come here and visit.
Is there anything at all you miss from back home in the States? Or?
No, no, actually nothing. And I'll tell you just a quick thing with my wife when she died. We both wanted to be cremated. We didn't want anything to do with the funeral parlors and the big things like that. So we weren't for whatever reason, we weren't able to cremate her. And Zacatecas not even here. So they said there's a cemetery where you went to, and we'll have a procession. We'll have mariachis. We'll have mezcal, and and my daughter went down and picked out the casket. It's an indigenous kind of casket. It has a hole in the top. So for Muertos, my wife can come back in through the hole.
Oh, that's like the movie Coco, guys. That's like the movie Coco.
Exactly. So I'm telling you, so here we are, and we've got this procession, and you've probably seen it, or you will see it. Not only, it was like half the town was here, and people were coming out of doorways that I didn't even know, coming over, giving me a hug. It was so I told my friend, the architect, I said, so yeah, we'll do the procession. We're not going to sit in the funeral home we're going to do it our way. So we'll do the procession, mariachis and everything. And after it turned out 100 times better. I was so happy that she wasn't cremated, because this was just beautiful. And I said, the only thing that would have made it better if the casket was in a pickup truck. But aside from that, I had just goosebumps. I mean, people were laughing and crying and everything.
Yeah.
It was, and so people came out that you hardly even knew, and everybody's in the procession.
That's awesome.
It was just heartwarming. It was unbelievable. So yeah.
Okay, I have one last question for you.
Sure.
What life advice do you have for anyone, whether they're my age, all the way to your age, or anything in between, that is hesitant about making that jump, that dream they may have had for years about, I always wanted to live in Mexico, I always wanted to live abroad, or something like that, and they're just, something is holding them back, with fear of some kind, who knows what it is. What life advice do you have for someone who feels that way at any point in their life?
Yeah, well, I would just say that don't be overcome with the fear. I mean, just check it out first. And, you know, you don't take a vacation and go there and you've been there 5 days and you say, we're going to move here now. You know, feel it out, transition into it. Go for a week, go for 2 weeks, go for a month. Feel it out. That way, it's more of a transition than it is, because sometimes it's a week vacation or 3 or 4 days vacation isn't really a good indication.
Yeah.
But just bite the bullet and do it, and you're going to love it, because it gives you a new life, actually. I mean, here, where I lived in Prescott, I was up in the Pines. I drove everywhere. I'd go to the gym, do all the things I did here, but basically, my friend, I might have a friend that's the checkout person at Home Depot or Safeway or something. Mitzi would say, you don't have all these friends. I said, yeah, I know this person. Here, now that I don't have a car particularly and I'm walking, I probably get 50 Buenos Dias, Buenos Tardes every day. You'll hear all these little vignettes. The school band will be practicing and they'll go through. You watch them. Every Monday they raise the flag in Plaza Grande. But you see all of these little things, and then you get all of this. Even if you don't know the people's names, you really have a connection with them.
Yeah.
They do know you. And it's just, to me, it's just beautiful. I mean, and there was nothing wrong. Where we left was beautiful. Prescott is a beautiful town up in the mountains. But you do tend to it's the same life, you know. And this way, for our last years, it's just stimulating and exciting, and it made a big difference. I mean, we just loved it.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing all of this with me. This is beautiful. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
This is awesome.
Thank you. It's
Thanks,
really
guys.
nice.
Check them out, guys. There's way more stories to come.